Man, super blessed, super duper blessed. You already know, man. I excited to be able to get this baby out here, man. You know, y'all the homies, y'all been with me. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know how I feel about it, and I'm just excited to be able to get it out here, man. It's a
And what is it that you are excited to get out right now, to
oh
be
yeah,
specific?
this project, man. This project, working and winning, still working and winning. The
Still
promise,
working and women, the promise.
still working and winning. The promise, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, I must say, I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan. I told you previously that working and winning, I feel like was your reasonable doubt.
Mm,
And when people go back in history, they will be able to truly appreciate the masterpiece that you created.
mm.
Um, what I will say with this, bro, is that I truly believe that you have another classic on your hands, man.
Are you going that far?
Yeah, I'm a claim it, bro. I'm a claim it, man. I don't play around when it comes to music. You know what I mean? And before we do anything, bro, what I would like to say is I would like to thank you for for definitively drawing that line in the sand as it pertains to your faith and your belief in God, bro. Because you are a believer, I'm a believer, we know that, but at the end of the day, we're still human beings. And I
Mm,
don't think that you run from that dichotomy in that you truly believe in a higher power and you know that you're called to something greater, but at the same time, you still are amongst the people.
yeah,
Yeah, so I appreciate that, man. It's a breath of fresh air, and it's a full course meal when you put out music. It's not something that's microwavable.
I respect that, man. I receive that. Thank you.
Absolutely, bro. And to just continue down that vein, I think that the seasoning gets better over time. You know how you cook that pot of spaghetti, and then that second day is always better. That
Right.
third is, you know what I mean? So yeah, yes, Lord. So I'm coming with a lot of stuff right now, man, because I'm very interested to hear. I think that it's a gift to be able to interview you, and you being an artist and me being a fan. But just to hear from the artist's perspective of what went into the masterpiece that you created. Um, I guess first, just starting with the name, still working and winning the promise, right? So obviously, to the masses, but for any peon that might not know, your previous project was called Working and Winning.
Yeah.
So my first question to you is, what was the reason for this being named as a quote unquote sequel? Was this something that was intentional and prior planned, or was this just a result of the great feedback that you received from the first?
Yeah. For those who've been tapped in for the last 10 years, September 3rd will actually be the 10-year anniversary of my first professional project with Great Care. But with Great Care was a trilogy. You know, with Great Care was with Great Care, the heart, the struggle, and the dream. And we found success with that because there's a connectivity to the thoughts, but it's not just about the business success. I think it's about the lifespan of a person, right? We go through seasons.
Mm,
So with Great Cares was that trilogy for me was a season, and it carried me through a process of thoughts and capacity. So um, working and winning was essentially meant to be the same, right? It's a season, and um, it's always meant to be essentially like a trilogy. So working and winning is the first one. This one is still working and winning, and there's one more coming after this that's going to be connected to the working and winning saga. Now the promise, because just like with Great Care had the heart, the struggle, and the dream. These extra names speak more to what the project is versus just the concept of the trilogy that we're in. So the promise speaks more to what this is about for me, and what this is about for me is just like it's just what I believe. It's what I've been seeing. Some people might you might call it prophecy, but for me, I see a promise for us. There's a promise for us, for the believers, for those who allow themselves to visualize financial well-being, family structures being restored, family being brought back into the community, black businesses, for those who allow themselves to envision a space where this world improves and we improve in it and our station in life improves in it collectively. To me,
Mhm.
that's the promise. And I know what it takes to get to your own individual promise, but what does it look like if all of us get to our individual promises collectively? That look like a promised land.
Okay. And so, just in that vein, because we're talking about that, I'm gonna jump around a little bit in the track listing. But track number two is self-titled Promise. And because what you were just saying, my question was going to be, what did you mean by what you were saying within the out or the song Promise? You said 22 is the beginning. What was the plan that was enacted? What did you see?
Hmm, that's a very great question. Um, so first and foremost, everybody who's heard that song is like 22. We in 23. Why are you still talking about 22?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is because what I saw coming, I really saw it in 2021.
Mm,
When I wrote the song Promise, it was like probably like January, February of 2022. And it was me telling my team, like, listen, this is the plays we about to run, but this is what's about to happen for black folks. It
mm,
starts in 2022. The thing that you need to understand about 22 is two and two is four. Four means structure. The number four is about structure. Four legs in a chair, right? That gives you the stability. So 22 for me, I was watching. This is not just like what I'm seeing, what I see coming, but this is like me watching my people. I'm watching people get things in order. Like even you, like I'm watching you get things in order with your family, with your house. I think y'all got the house in 22, right?
we no, we got the house in 21, moved in around 22.
Yeah. So I'm watching structure. That's what I'm doing. I'm watching people get things in structure, businesses structured, family things structured. I'm like, oh, if this is a structure year, then 22 is starting what's coming.
Mm,
Now, if you follow my old project with great care, working and winning, the song 10 on working and winning.
yes, sir.
That final verse is it says we doing our own thing, plotting our own schemes, celebrating the 10 and consciousness that it brings. 10 times 10, 100 years from when we elevated the scene. That's 1919. Uh, I study patterns. What I do know is that there's a saying that says history repeats. And I said it on Breathe, but I said it different. I said history repeats and it surely rhymes.
Mm,
100 years ago, we had a pandemic, the Spanish flu. After that pandemic, there was an economic decline. Our history books in class showed us that economic decline and it showed us all of these starving bodies.
mm,
What our history books didn't show us was Durham, North Carolina, Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Brownsville, Chicago, what was happening in Atlanta, Harlem Renaissance. They didn't show us all of these burgeoning black communities because when the economics in America declined, who got left out the most? Black folks. But what did that force black folks to do? Depend on each other. And when they depended on each other, their economic stability rose. If history rhymes, 100 years, because 10 times 10, every 10 years something new begins. Every 10 something new begins. 10 times 10 is consciousness renewed. So 100 years later, we get another pandemic. After the pandemic, we get a economic decline. Well, if we're following the rhyming pattern, that means that we're going to go into a situation where first black folks feel like it's desperation and despair. Violence increases, money is low for folks. But if
mm.
we're following the rhyming pattern, there's essentially black collective growth coming.
And so it's crazy that there was that amount of context that went into the development of that, right? We were just talking about track number 2, Promise. And so in my notes, because obviously that was not the first song, my notes for the second song was there was an ascension in the movement, the message, and the tempo,
Mm.
right? And so I'm tying that, I'm connecting that to what you just said, where you know we're going through this pattern within life. There is what seems to be a decline, but from that decline then becomes an emergence. So it's crazy that that is in sync
Oh,
with
that language you use to describe what you was listening to.
exactly, exactly. That's dope. That's dope. So let's go back to number one, which was the game, right? Um,
Mm.
I think you came. I think you were swinging hard out the gate with that. I mean, just the tone that you set to start the entire album. I think that you definitely hit the mark with that.
Mm.
On a lighter note, I know you spoke about the decision to essentially work for yourself and create your own. So, on a lighter note, my question to that is, what is the worst job that you've ever had? And why was it the worst job?
The worst job I've had. Jeez, I don't know, cause I don't really view things like that.
You didn't have some bad jobs, bro.
I don't really view it like that. If I had to say anything for political sake, I won't say. But I worked at a school here in DC for about 4 weeks. They were considered to be for about a month, yeah, about maybe 6 weeks. They were considered to be one of the top tier public charter schools in the city. Um, they had raving reviews, everybody talking about them. And I get to the school and I find out why.
Mm,
They disproportionately were sitting the Hispanic and the black kids in the hallways so that they could maintain classroom management when they didn't know how to deal with the black kids and the Hispanic kids. They came
mm,
from troubled homes. Those kids had a certain number of times in the hallway before they would kick them out of school.
mm,
They were catering to the parents of the affluent in the inner city. So they're getting this credit for being an inner city charter school, public charter school, for doing all this work, but they're still filled with people who don't know how to respond to black and brown youth. And my kids in the hallway. And for me, that was probably the worst job I've had because um, I'm there. I'm there in space to love all children, but the children who look like me and who will most likely resemble me as a child in this great school are still being disproportionately misunderstood.
mm.
I couldn't be with the funk.
So did you come in like Principal Joe Clark from Lean On Me?
Nah, man, I actually came in very humble because, admittedly, the school that I worked at before that, I was let go from.
Mm,
And I was not let go because I was a bad teacher, because my test scores and my growth for my students proved it. I was let go because, I mean, in hindsight, I know exactly why I was let go. I was let go because the educational system got a game and I wasn't playing it right. I was too boisterous. I had too much to say.
mm,
I had, I wasn't quiet enough, and that can make leadership at your school feel like you're not coachable. But I wasn't quiet because I was working at schools that was talking about literacy problems, but didn't want to spend money to build a library.
mm, mm,
You have a
mm,
school that ain't got access to books, but you got literacy problems. And I wouldn't I've just never been that type of person to just sit back and be like, well, at least I can pay my rent.
Mm-hmm.
I would forfeit. I've always been that type of guy. I would forfeit comfortability to have things that was right, and that's really where With Great Care was born from. My time in education, because in that school that let me go, I stood up in the middle of a meeting, and this is probably why they let me go. But I said something along the lines of, "I am sick and tired of y'all mandating new programs and new processes that you will not execute without fidelity." I
Mm,
said the only thing worse than a bad idea is a good idea implemented incorrectly. All y'all care about is meeting the demands of your higher up so that you can keep your jobs. And I said it is not important for us to be trying to do the greatest and best thing. Can we just love the kids we got with great care? And boom,
mm.
With Great Care was born.
Boy, you just said a mouthful that I'm not even gonna go into for sake of time, but I definitely appreciate you sharing that in transparency. Um, you know, you know where I stand with that. You know what my career is and has been to date. But just like you, I am also called to a higher power and
Mm,
purpose, right? And so we'll just leave it at that. I appreciate you for that.
yeah.
Um, so going into track number 3, which is the jungle. Um, what I would like for you to do, if you don't mind, if you could play that, and then if you could give some context to the meaning behind the song. But the notes that I took was, and this is just from a fan's perspective, it sounded more like a love letter to your hometown, like you were paying homage to your roots. And in my humble opinion, I believe that it is one of your singles off of your album, if not the hit single off of your album. Uh,
Mm.
as I was listening to it, bro, like I got the whole treatment in my head, the whole treat. Like I saw everything,
So
and it
you
was.
right. So you gonna write and look, you gonna write and finance.
Hey, but look, hey, listen. We could have some discussions about that because that was actually a thought that came to my mind that we can build on. Um, I believe in your artistry. I believe in your ability to be the Jay-Z of your rap generation. Um,
Mm,
we
that's
could we could we could talk about it, bro. We could talk about it.
that's big. All right, let's play jungle. And,
Yes, sir.
and I'm gonna give a little bit of it just to make sure that matter of fact, I'm not gonna get jungle. I'm gonna give something else. I'm gonna get promise since you spoke about it, just to make sure that we can hear the record clear.
Respect.
And if we can hear promise clear, then I'm gonna turn jungle on.
Respect.
Jungle. Yusha, Assad, Workin Winnin. You in the jungle, baby. You already know what it is. Some country niggas. This for my Jackson niggas, out of forest crew. You from the jungle, nigga, then you know what it do. You might get shot line pop, nigga, don't be no punk. This for the speaker system banging out of JP's trunk. This for them 18 spinning on that fresh green act. This for my nigga D Herb, got that seat on lean back. We Miller high life drinking, Monticello jam. This for my cornbread fed niggas that get brought around. We from the jungle, nigga. Hey, Jackson, jungle, nigga. We from the jungle, nigga. Grabbing borders, straight to ice, and we was sliding down the street. Summertime at Crystal House on trampoline, that's where I be. Fifth grade, used to pick on all the girls and say they stink. Eighth grade, them jokes got thick and pretty, and I had to beat Michael B. This that shoot, just how you feel, that shot was sweet. Shoot 'em up, talking shit about we freestyle on King's beat. Be the street, Mr. Wells, grab your drink, your shit sweet. Find your spot, eat your Cheetos, drink your drink, and keep your heat. You in the jungle, nigga. Hey, Jackson, jungle, nigga.
from the jungle, nigga. Hey. This for my nigga head, boy, you know what it do. That be my day one nigga. He don't run with a crew. That nigga don't play fair. Nah, he don't play about the truth. Fucking with me ain't something you want me to say about the truth. It's fried chicken in Courtney house. And back to my mama crib. This Bays at Jones house. And bingo with Funny live. The trucks in the graveyard. And we put the nod dies. You watch when you in the curve. Cause that's where the cars fly in the jungle, nigga. Hey. Hey, Jackson, 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 jungle, nigga. We in the jungle, nigga.
Changing and ongoing, and I'm grateful for them.
So can you go into a little bit of context of the development of that song and what it means to you?
You did it. You hit it, man. When I heard that song, first of all, I mean the production was hella southern. All right, it came through like some old school southern classic. It had that bop to it. And you're right. It's essentially like, yo, this one is for my people. Like I think I've written that song for my Reedsville homies. On my last project, Choices was kind of like the song for my Reedsville homies. But this is for my Brown Summer homies. We lived on a street called Jackson School Road, which was like in the middle of our town where we were. This was like the road where all the black folks lived. So we called it the jungle. And every part of that song was connected to a person. From JP, who was my man Jason Payton, with the trunk. He used to have this old Lincoln that with the speakers in the back that you could really hear a mile down the road coming. To Donnie with the Acura with the wheels on it, with the spinners on it. Eric had the green Act with the spinners on it. My boy Herb, his mother used to have this red Nissan Maxima, and we played ball all the time. So she ain't like him sitting back on her seats with his sweaty back. So he would lean the seat all the way back, put his elbow on the seat, and drive like this. All of that is part of that story, but it was like it was my record for them. You know what I mean? And every part of that song was a direct reflection of like something that happened in childhood or how we moved in that community. And,
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you the power that I hear in that song is that even though you were specific to talk about your upbringing and paying homage to your friends and your hometown and specifically where y'all are from, I definitely directly connected to that southern feel, right? But it was very nostalgic for anybody that came from a neighborhood. You know what I mean? I would say specifically the South with that bop that came with that beat. Believe it or not, I don't care what nobody say. Maryland is under the Mason-Dixie line, and we just as country as everybody else. You know what I mean? We country cousins.
I say it all the time, actually.
In my neighborhood, so I'm from Sea Pleasant. Shout out to anybody from that area that's listening. But my specific neighborhood, we call it the Mill, right? Mm-hmm. So the fact that you call it the jungle, it was a direct connection with, the nickname, right? We call ours the Mill, Pepper Mill. And so it's just a lot of power, like I said, man. And listening to that song and growing up, my favorite artist is Scarface. Favorite group, Outkast and UGK. A huge Pimp C fan, right? So it was a direct connection for me, and the visuals that I got after you and I do the initial treatment. This could be the remix song, similar to like Trey the Truth, I'm On. He has like 5 different I'm Ons. Or if you think about the Rough Riders anthem, where you could pull up to Killer Calion, you could pull up the Big Crit, you could pull up the Currency, you know what I mean? And y'all could develop a remix to this song just off the strength of people being able to connect, showing homage, paying homage to their neighborhood. So, wow. Yeah, dope, bro.
I love that concept.
definitely, I believe definitely a hit single off of this jump, bro.
Yeah, for those who watching too, please know that Mr. Sean Nickols is one of the most creative people I know. So he gonna be spurting out all types of creativity. It ain't just mine. So I'm saying you can use it. It's viral. You know, it's out here, so you can use it. But please believe, I
Uh,
will be using these things.
yes, sir. So going into track number 4, which was Breathe. The note that I took for this was just, it was a friendly reminder, right? So I think you set the tone. You came out swinging hard. Promise was that ascension in the movement, the message, the tempo. The jungle was that nostalgia and providing that beat, that cadence that just kept you moving, right? And then Breathe, what I feel is that you dropped a lot of knowledge and like brought people back from the party to sit down and really truly understand what you were pushing, right? So I would just ask you if you could kind of go into a little bit of detail on the With Great Care movement, the apparel that you have, which I will say, and this is not a shameless plug, this is the best snapback that I've ever owned. Quality wise, longevity. I am very, very big on curving my brim. So, like, the fact that you just don't have that flimsy brim, like, I love it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, but super dope apparel, bro. Super dope apparel.
Man, first of all, first and foremost, thank you for that. You are a big supporter of what I do, and I know it's not just because we friends. I know it's also because you are a person who believes in doing things with great care. It's how you operate, and both of us appreciate quality and intention. So I know that your statement, even about the clothes, is just connected to the intentionality that you love about it. So with great care, it started as a social movement, not as music. Where we were just simply telling people don't just strive to do great things, but do all things with great care, purpose, and intention. And the goal was to use that thought process to elevate the condition of our people. It is to our belief that when we stop trying to do the greatest thing, but to do the things that we do with great care, purpose, and intention, that we will naturally see an improvement in everything, an improvement in how we parent, how we work, how we eat, how we move. This steady, disciplined improvement of being intentional and purposeful with every act
Mm,
or with every position will elevate. And so when we sat down with a team, when With Great Care was officially formed as a business, we just thought to ourselves, like, what is going to be our business format? And essentially, what we do is we create platforms, curate platforms within business, education, and entertainment to reveal the hope that lives within our communities. So whether that be the educational program that we do called a Hope Campaign, music events that we do like Revival or some of the ones that's coming up, or even this album, um, or the business platforms that we put up. One being Dimensions, which is a workforce development course that we do, from the coaching services that we offer to DCI down on H Street. Everything we do is about spreading that message. We are a social impact business, primarily focused on making our money through changing and improving culture.
I appreciate you for that, bro. I appreciate you for that. And you and I had a conversation a while back where we talked about the natural progression in being successful as an artist in converting fans to customers.
Hmm.
I still stand on that, and I truly believe that that is the case to become successful. Um, However, what I would also add to that is um, it is very important within that what is maintained is a feeling of community, that people feel that they are a part of whatever that movement is. And so I just want to say, I think that you do a wonderful job with that. You know, for anybody who has not purchased any kind of merch from With Great Care, the the packaging alone, the
Mm.
packaging alone is quality. It'll make you want to buy more, right? Just to get that I'm gonna call it the slow opening box feel like iPhones, right? You provide that level of quality within your packaging, within the care and the commitment that you have to giving a quality product, and I appreciate you for it.
Thank
Um,
you.
Transitioning to number 5, which is Real Friends, right? Um, I'm gonna ask you a few questions. Feel free if you would like to play the song.
Yeah, we can play it. I know you got it listed as one of the songs you wanted people to hear.
Yes, sir. Yes,
But
sir.
now, or you want to talk about it first?
Yeah, sure. We could play. Well, let me ask you the questions. Um, and then hopefully other people will key in and listen to that and be able to pick up some context. But I would love to hear from you. Who are you referencing in each of the verses?
Yeah,
And who, what, and or who the hell is Blacksmith Entertainment?
yeah. So first of all, this song was hard to write. It was hard to write because I could have wrote 30 verses to it.
Mm,
Maybe not 30. But if I include you, if I include Colin, if I include my real brothers, if I, what I mean, there's inclusions. And I told somebody the other day, I really feel like much what you said about Jungle, I feel like this song is going to have renditions of it, because there's more friendships to talk about, and I think that there's a space for black men to celebrate their friendships. For a while, there was a time when, as a black man, it wasn't necessarily cool to say such and such is my best friend. Uh, that's not the case anymore, and we changing that. You know what I mean? So I might rewrite this song a few more times. So one, the first verse is about my boy Kariga Bailey, who I met when I first got to DC. He's Gianna's god, one of Gianna's godfathers, um, but just super dope individual. We met in purpose, working together in these schools, helping young black boys and girls in these schools figure out how to make it in these DC streets. And you'll hear that story in the song. The second verse is about my best friend, my best man. Like, when I get married, it's my best man. We've been friends since sixth grade. My boy Brandon, who lives in Atlanta, he's also one of Gianna's godparents, and he's seen me through the transition of life. That's the one friend that I got that we've been tapped in for over 20 some years, so more than that. So
yes, sir. And so what and or who is Blacksmith Entertainment?
so Brandon's last name is Smith, and my last name, my given last name is Blackwell. So when we were growing up, Brandon had to be the first. He was the first listening session
Mm,
because as we rode places in my car or in his truck, I would rap over everything. And I had a dream at that time. As a kid, I had a dream of owning a record label, and he was supposed to be my business partner. So Blacksmith Entertainment was how we shaped it up. We do not have a business called Blacksmith Entertainment, but we do have a business called Blacksmith Defense, where we teach classes. Um, we teach introductory classes to weaponry for those who want to get into owning guns or self defense in the home, but have a fear around guns or fear around home protection. Um, things. We do an introductory class for now, but our goal is eventually to release a line of black owned products in the armory lane.
dope, dope. Wow. All right, you ready to play it?
Let's do it.
You're not my mother's son, but you're my mother's son. Cause though your mother has sons, she got other sons. All your brothers call me brother, I'm the other one. And you showed up to be a brother, but I wanted one. So say anything different, I'ma want the ones. You gon' shoot the L, I'ma shoot the reach. We the 1-2 punch, homie, we both teach. In the same room, you heal through love, I heal through speech. We showed up like heroes in these DC streets. Opening cages at Maya, watching the youth fly higher. Swear the heart is the best rhythm, we move to the beat. Now our kids grown as fucking when they see us, they beat. Nigga, you beat KB, and I beat JB. You can smoke out of L, but you can't out J me. But we not in competition, boy, I know your strengths. I can star on your team, play support on your bench. I'ma rock with you forever, bro, that's what makes sense. You know niggas been tested, you showed up in the trench. Ain't no fake love between us, cause we don't get at an inch. Peace king for life, that's how we work and we win. Real friends, real friends. Where would I be without my, Hey son, who gon' ride for me like my day one? One of us gon' leave first. I hope that when that day come, one of us is standing over the other head full of graves, talking to the grandkids like, back in our days. You popped the lock when I couldn't go home. Wore the same size shoe, I probably had your clothes on. Playing Call of Duty, shooting niggas in the war zone. Godfather know my daughter straight if I should go home. Realest of the real, you keep it real with me. And even if we fighting, you would kill for me. Argue over payment, we don't split the bill. And when it's time to eat, we still split the kill. Shown up, look at how you grown up. Body finally match your hair, celebrate your glow up. Know that I'm forever talking shit because I understand. You hit just like a brick and niggas ain't fucking with your hands. I'm just playing. I'ma rock with you forever, dog. That's what makes sense. You know niggas been tested. You showed up in the trench. Ain't no fake love between us, cause we don't get out an inch. Blacksmith Entertainment, that's how we work and we win. Real friends. Real friends. Where would I be without my
Dope. Dope, bruh. Like, so just a sidebar. You know, but for those that don't, I used to rap myself, was actually in a band for quite a few years and then transitioned to managing the band. Shout out to my best friend Colin, who was the Diddy of the city, still is the Diddy of the city.
Shout out to Diddy Haynes.
Yeah, boy. But the reason why I say that is because I want to say that I have started to mentally create my own verses to the majority of these tracks, but specifically this song. And I don't know what it is. I think that it's the beat that just, it's like kind of like playing double dutch, like just getting ready to that thing. Yeah. So yeah, shout out to you for that, bro. You killed that.
Shout out to Enon, man. Enon was the producer. He produced every record on this project but one. Shout out to Enon, man. He did this.
Final question for that track though. Well, it's a two-part. I know the answer to the first, but just to give, we're gonna throw it out there. Yeah. Who is JB?
My given name. The name that they named me when I was growing up was Joshua Blackwell.
Oh, okay. So leading into the real question, what is the most significant difference between YA, Yusha Assad, and JB, Joshua Blackwell?
Yeah. Of course, Joshua Blackwell is my given name. My father named me Joshua. His intention was to name me after the prophet Joshua in the Bible. But we know, those of us who know, that there was no such thing as the letter J back then. It didn't exist. So when I just become more conscious in the world and conscious of who I am and how I wanted to show up, and I started studying language, I changed my name to Yusha because Yusha is the Arabic version of Joshua. But I really had two choices. I could have took the Hebrew version, which is Yahshua, or I could have went the Arabic version. And I chose the Arabic version because Jesus' name in Hebrew is also Yahshua. And I wanted to keep the distinction because Jesus deserves the distinction. So I went with Yusha. The difference is the name even comes because I'm operating at a higher sense of consciousness and knowledge anyway. So it ain't really the difference between YA and JB. It's really the difference between Yusha and J Black. And
Mhm.
that's important because there's a song that I'm gonna drop later this year, which says, "I buried Jay Black, but let his ghost in." And what I'm really talking about is my old self versus my new self. But if you're a person who just like you speak, think, hear spiritually, I'm really talking about my lower vibrational thoughts and energies versus my high vibrational thoughts and energies. Who I am when I'm connected to the Most High and God, and who I am when I'm not, when I'm disconnected. I buried that person who was disconnected from his higher self. But sometimes I let his ghost in because those lower vibrational energies sometimes are needed when you meet lower vibrational energies. You need to check them. But in most cases, Yusha is the elevated one, the
Mm.
loving, the caring one. Yusha got grace.
Yeah, yeah. I respect that, and I'm looking forward to hearing that introspection when you put it out. Because I want to say when you and I met, I don't know if I ever knew the Jay Black guy. Um, I always knew to your point of what you just said. I always knew who you are to this very day. It just so happened that you were going by Joshua Blackwell when we first met.
Mhm.
But I appreciate your explanation of that because from my perspective and peer review, and when we met, I agree with that. Like I don't really think that there's too much of a significant difference from JB to YA because I think that you and I had an energy exchange that created a connection immediately where we just knew what it was, even without really truly knowing each other at that time.
All right, mutual respect for sure.
Yeah.
Use
Oh,
the honcho. Use the honcho.
boy. Yeah, boy. Yes, Lord. Yes,
Use the honcho.
Lord. Yes, Lord. And we knew that about each other just immediately.
Yeah,
Even though I know that it was somewhat of a different story on your end, at the end of the day, you still were that.
yeah. I mean, but I had strong line brothers. So
Yeah,
Bean is one of the line brothers, and Bean, in a sense, can really be considered a honcho of our line. But our ace was really a strong personality.
yeah,
But you know, I was who I was on that line for a reason, and my line name ended up being what it was for a reason. So
yes, sir. Yes,
we got
sir.
work, we got work done.
Yes, sir. Transitioning to number 6, find a way.
Mm.
What I will say is I appreciate the fact that you not only can sing, that you actually use it and that you don't run from it. Because I think that and I'm talking about really singing. I ain't talking about no, just trying to be melodic. You legit have a voice, right? And so I truly appreciate the fact that you exercise that in your music. And I don't know if everybody really is truly catching on to those vocals and tying it to the fact that it is actually you.
Mm.
It's extremely dope. I really didn't even have a question about this song. And the reason why I say that is because I believe that all of your music is uh, very digestible and understandable. But for this song specifically, in my opinion, it was the most straightforward song that didn't require any kind of decoding, right? So like what you hear is what it really truly is, in my opinion. What are your thoughts on that? Would you agree or
Uh, yeah, I would agree. I mean, a person could ask me to give explanation of stories, but I mean, I was in LA when I wrote this song, and I wrote exactly what I did. I was in a hotel room, just woke up, I gotta find my pace again, staring in this mirror that I'm facing in. Um, what I say? Just woke up, I gotta find my pace again, staring in this mirror that I'm facing in, saying affirmations to my face again. get a smoothie, and I'm right back in my racing. That's exactly what happened. I woke up that morning in the hotel, looked in the mirror, said my affirmations, and hit up my boy Reed because I was with Kariga and his wife Felicia at the time. Was like, "Yo, is there a smoothie place near here?" I get my smoothie, I drink my smoothie, and I take a run. Um, and that was the process for the day. You know, that really happened. I told my nigga, get your money and embrace the wins. I really told him that. The next day, I wake up. I don't do that because his best friend he grew up with, who's also a good homie, Johnny Gold, who produced that track, comes to get me. Me and Johnny Gold go to this. He goes walking with another homie in the mornings on one of the hills. So I go with them. We go up this hike up this mountain. You get to the top of the mountain, and the only thing at the top of this mountain is a tree. They call it Wisdom Tree. It's one tree. You can actually see it from the road if you're paying attention. And you get up there, and there's one big hill and this tree, and people drop rocks by this tree. They sit by this tree. Some people pray by this tree. It's just like a space of like elevated wisdom. And we get all the way up to the top, and it's just fog everywhere. We can't see nothing for a while, right? Eventually, the fog goes through. But before we go up the hill, John and them got a process where they do push-ups. They call them get money. That's what they call getting money. So every so often while we're climbing this, and it takes like 3 hours, but every so often while we're climbing this mountain, there's money spots. When you get to that money spot, you got to drop and get push-ups. So I just related that process to life. Um, that's your hill, get your money, them your up downs. Look at that hill like what's up now. Celebrate the people that's beside you who do the climb with you. Steady breathing, heavy stride, straight long strides, steady breathing, stay aligned with you. 10
Mhm.
toes, never fold, do the time with you. Hit the top, see the sun, let them shine with you. Because eventually the sun came out. And once the fall moved and the sun came out, we could see LA at a different perspective. And the higher perspective of LA was different than just being amongst the houses and the trees. Once you get to the top of that mountain, you see Beverly Hills, you see the valley, you see how the 405 proceeds. And it's like, yo, once you get this perspective at this level, once you see life at a higher perspective, you don't trip over the other stuff. So that's what the song is really about. Like you're gonna find a way, you're gonna get through it, you're gonna make it, but elevate your perspective. And I was really going through something at the time. So being able to spend that time with John and Kariga and Felicia was like really to tap in that I needed with the homies. And it's there, like it's straightforward, but you could that's the story behind it, which is why it's straightforward. Everything I wrote was exactly what happened.
That's dope, bro. That's dope because this is the first time that I'm hearing that story. And not only does it make complete sense, it makes complete sense without that story.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's dope. That's dope, bro. I'm glad to hear that I'm just like picking up what you putting down through the music, man. Like I feel like I'm not patting my own back, but a nigga patting his own back right now.
Yeah, yeah. For everybody who's not from DC, what he just said when he said "ja like," what I mean, that's an expressive word that he uses to talk about how connected he is to the scenario.
It means kinda. It means kinda. going going to number 7, right? And so look, so you already talked about numbers, and the power in numbers. You and I have multiple conversations. We talk about everything under the sun.
Right.
We both believe in not only the power in words, but the understanding of numbers and how everything is created by God, right? And so because everything has been created by God, that means that it's divinely created, which means that there is a deeper meaning and context if you so search it, right? So the number 7, godly number, God is good to me, is number 7. In this song, this is not the first, but this is one that is the pronounced. This is what I believe, and I'm going to sing it loud at the mountaintop. God has been good to me. Would you like to go into any more context of that song and why you chose to stand strong in your faith and putting it out?
First of all, that song was written in 2019. It was written because I was going through a time period where I wasn't writing music because as an entrepreneur, The struggle of figuring out how to be a full-time entrepreneur at that time was like, I got to get to the bag. I don't have time to write music. I got to get to the bag. Every day got to be about getting to the bag. And that was the only song I wrote. The chorus was written to give secular context. Y'all don't know the things that I've been through. I'm running up the game and it's simple. No, no. Getting to the money, that's my mental. 100 racks on my tax, that's official. Yeah, yeah. Anybody could have said that. But how? Why am I there? How am I here? Because God's been good to me. And it's really a testament to the idea that, like, I don't believe in the idea of a self-made identity. I do, right? Partially, right? The duality of that is like, you got to work hard yourself. You got to do it for yourself. You got to put it on. But what if God took your ability to see, hear, smell, taste, and feel? What if that simple mercy wasn't given to you? I wouldn't even be writing this song if I woke up tomorrow and was hoarse. And how easily could it be for the creator to allow you to get sick or have a car accident or do something where your faculties are gone? I don't know the things that I've been through. I'm running up the game and it's simple. Yeah, getting to the money. It's my mental. 100 racks on my. Yep. But why? Because God been good to me.
Wow. Okay. And so that's dope, because my only note to this was, it was the self manifestation of the provision over your life from God, right? And I think that you just explained just that. Like, there is an aspect of what it could be perceived as self-proclaimed, because essentially you got to go out and get it, right? You have to add the work. But at the end of the day, it's all from the higher power, man. It's all from him. So it was very, this song was very refreshing to hear.
It was originally the first track on the project. It got moved.
Okay. And so typically when I listen to music, the first time that I listened to it, I listened to the sonics. I listened to how the songs flow and tie into each other. I typically try, depending on what I'm doing, to close my eyes and to envision a novel, right? Is this a novel? Is this something that I'm reading from front to back? Does it create imagery for me? Does it sound succinct and whole, right? And I do believe all of that for this project. However, also what I do is I like to identify the triplet, my favorite triplet, like the sequence of 3 songs that just, if you were to take that out and just put it on a demo, or if you were to take that out and just say, this represents me, this is who I am, or, this is what I need people to hear, can it stand on its own? I believe, in my opinion, that 7, 8, and 9 are that for me, right? So going into 8, which is signs, I would love to hear, as much as you feel comfortable with sharing, I would love to hear the further context to that song. But I do also know quite a bit myself. For those that don't know, within number 8, which is signs, you spoke about 2 friends of yours, which is Correga and I believe his wife Felicia, and you spoke about their testimony, some of the things that they've been through in their life, right? They were also featured on Owns Black Love season 4, episode 5, which was Stand By Me, entitled Stand By Me. It was in 2020. So for anybody that wants to go back, that was a dope episode, and that gives even more context to kind of what they went through. But for sake of this conversation, do you mind kind of giving a little bit more?
Yeah, for sure. So, Signs. First of all, I didn't name that song until I started writing the second verse. When I hit the line and said, "I know the angels were on assignment, but I saw signs." That's when I named it Signs. Because before that, it was just called Praise. That song was called Praise. But what happened was when 2021 came around, um, my grandmother had 13 kids, three of which passed away years ago. One including my father. He passed away in '08. She had 10 left. At the top of 2021, we had 10 left. By September, we were only down to five.
Mm.
Um, Four of them left back to back to back to back, even to the point where we were at a funeral putting one in the ground. Another one passed out at that funeral, went to the hospital, and died a few days later.
Wow. My condolences, brother.
On top of that, my line brother lost his mother, who I wasn't super close to, but I love him. And then watching him put his mother in the ground, I had to relive the vision of putting my father in the ground, which was opening up old wounds for me. A cousin of mine passed away because he got hit by a car. And this was this context. And so I'm really going through it, bro. You know, I'm dealing with compound grief, but I'm also dealing with um, regurgitating the memory of my father passing. Kariga and Felicia had experienced what they experienced with the double transition of Kamayu, which was their first daughter, but they had been blessed with another child, and she had just been born in April. Her name's Kamali. So in June, I went out to Oakland to hang out with Kariga and Felicia, and I spent some time with them. One, because I hadn't seen them in years. We talked, but I hadn't seen them. I was like, "Nah, I'm coming this year," so I come. Spend some time with Reed, which he attests to my presence just being good for him because I came with routines and practices that allow him to get back into healthy practices for himself. One, because he had just became a father and he needed to establish healthy practices that allow him to maintain. But then two, because 'cause not that he had just became a father, right? But he was also still in his healing and grieving process from his first child double transitioning. What they don't realize though is that me dealing with compound grief, as much as he would thank me for being a brother who shows up and offers him some insight on how to just operate in that space and maintain, what they told me how to do was to deal with grief.
Mm.
Because before that I didn't have a clear picture of how to do it. They and I can tell this because they put it on the album cover, but they have a urn with their first daughter in it that has a candle on top of it. And whenever they have family dinner, they light that candle at the table too, so that their first daughter in her double transition can be a part of it.
Wow.
They have because of their practices. Hold on, Sean, my computer about to die. Y'all give me 1 second.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm coming back, but if I don't get this computer together, we're gonna be lost. So yeah, back. So because of their therapy and the practices that they were going through to heal, they had learned a lot about what grief is, and they started not referring to grief as like this terrible thing, but they just looked at grief as like extended love, and they were practicing collectively practicing ways to love their daughter, um, despite the fact that she was no longer with them. And I mean, the practice, bro, it was the practice. It was like, I need this. If this is what y'all are doing, let me try it. Which is why at the end of the song is like, we're not afraid to bear our cross, but we don't wish for it. We know you told us heal the world. We use our gifts for it, but we ain't know the sacrifices we would give for it. But as
Mm.
long as you're here, Lord, we're here for it.
Mm.
And it's a testament because of such great work that Kariga and Felicia does in the community. Such great work that I do in the community. I just find that like people who bear the burden of loving and helping the world, who have the capacity to bear the burden of loving and helping the world, they experience so much trial and so much test. and everybody looks and says, "Man, they are such powerful, so beautiful." And you don't, I've experienced the type of tests and trials that people don't come back from, and I know that Kariga has too. So, despite it all, I think the thing that has carried me through my own process of grief and healing is that I see signs everywhere. I'm more awake to how this universe works, how God operates. I'm more awake to the sciences. I kind of look at this world like the Matrix. I see numbers everywhere. I see God everywhere. I breathe differently. Um, Kariga often says, him and the homies, this group called Grand National, often say, wellness is the new genre.
Mm.
And so, this music to me, even this project to me is wellness. It's about wellness. That's the new genre. What's the genre? Wellness.
Dope, dope. I receive everything you just said, and I appreciate that. I think that what is so dope about this song is that even at the end, when you have Felicia talking about some of the story, she's transparent enough to say, I would love to not have to deal with this. You know what I mean? I would love to not be in this place of grief and pain, or have experienced that, and to be able to say that my child is still here. However, going through it is not only making me stronger, but it's allowing me to love her even deeper, right? And so I just appreciate this song because this song is a quote unquote torch that allows, that is a light bearer for their testimony, for their story, right? So I can appreciate that.
That's,
So again,
that's an excerpt too from their podcast. Felicia sent me an excerpt from the podcast, like, "Hey, use this," and
dope.
check out their podcast, Soul Affirmations. Their podcast is also listed on Black Love, and I believe they won. I can't remember the name of the award that's attached to, but they won an award for being one of the best podcasts in the nation.
Wow. And what's the podcast called again?
I believe the podcast is called Soul Affirmations.
So okay, I'm gonna look it up. So again, I was saying like the triplet, right? So that transitions to number 9 within that triplet. So you had uh, Good to Me, you had Signs, and then number 9 is Heal, right? And so going back to numerology, the number 9, and I have a personal tie to the number 9.
Nine is divine.
The number 9 is powerful. It represents completion, although not a final ending, more like a fulfillment of one cycle so that you can prepare to initiate the next one. It's a recognition of life's ongoing ebb and flow, right?
Because right after 9, there's no number after 9.
Mm-hmm.
9 is really completion of the number cycle. Because right after 9 is 1 again.
Yes, sir. And so the note that I took, and honestly, I look at, because I am a student of the culture, the music, the hip hop culture, I look at this as it pertains to all music that I listen to. Like, what is the number 9, right? And the reason why I say that is because, and I think that you hit it right on the nail on the head, where the note that I took from this one is, it was a palate cleanser, right? It was that transition into the heavy hitters and the feel and the message that followed that. So you had amazing music. You had your ebbs and flows within your track listing, the change in tempos, the change in feel and message that you wanted to get across. And to me, Hill was just that palate cleanser. It kind of just it cleared out the space for what was to come. if you don't mind, if we have time, can you play that? And I would like for you to give like a breakdown, synopsis of the lyrics.
But which is my command, Brody.
Where are fairy tales? Where are our happily ever afters? Doesn't mean we don't deserve the love and laughter. Yeah. I want you here. Wake up from a dream and know that we get to be real.
Oh, my bad. I played the short version. We're gonna let it live. Y'all want to hear the whole thing? Go listen to it.
But okay, but and that's
The
still
reason
great,
why
right?
there is a short version is because Precious's voice was so beautiful on that. I originally intended to just shorten that record and just utilize what she did.
Yeah.
The spirit wouldn't let me.
Well, so I mean, so to prompt those to go and listen to the extended version, the full version, um, do you mind giving some context to what it transitioned into with your lyrics?
Precious set the tone for that record. When we got in the studio, we didn't have no direction for it. All we heard was, hey, all right. Precious gets in and starts singing. Precious goes, where are our fairy tales? And as soon as she starts singing, I do something I don't do. I grab my phone and I start writing. And somebody might be like, well, why don't you do that? Because you know me, Sean. I don't pen the paper much. I don't write physically. I recite. I started writing. What came out of me though was like when she said fairy tales, I thought about how Disney painted these pictures of what love and relationships was supposed to look like, from Sleeping Beauty and Prince Charming, right? Sleeping Beauty is sleep, and here's this prince who comes and he kisses. Well, was it his tear? I think it was his tear that restored her, right? Like he kisses her, but he cries, and his tear drops, and it lands on her face, and when it does, she's awakened. And then I thought about the frog and the princess. How you got this frog who's really a prince, and this beautiful princess who sees beyond his wardiness and his demeanor and his outward appearance, loves him and then kisses him. And once she kisses him, right, once she loves him enough to kiss him, he's restored. So here's this picture of this, like this in one side, it's like the woman restores the man to his higher posture. And the other side, the man wakes the woman up. But what do we do in the community when the woman is asleep and the man's a frog? Who kisses the man? Who sees his truth? Who looks beyond his talent to bring him into princehood? And if he's a frog hopping through the creek somewhere, who kisses her when she's asleep, unaware and not connected to the reality of her people, her folks, and her truth? These fairy tales were not fairy tales
Wow.
because
My,
what they did to our community were not fairy tales. And
yeah.
so the true essence of the story is like we're gonna have to write a new fairy tale, and it can't be based off the queen being mad because the king didn't show up to cry for her, and the frog being mad because the woman didn't show up to kiss him. We gotta accountability. Holding each other accountable is good, but accountability is to an extreme because accountability isn't our answer. We're holding each other accountable for what they did to us.
Mm,
We need love, mercy, forgiveness, and grace because we are going to have to restore based off being able to heal each other through the posture of love, looking beyond her being sleep and looking beyond him being froggy and being like, we gonna have to love each other where we at.
mm. Okay. And so there's so much rich context that you just provided to that, man. I appreciate that, bro. And I feel like you could almost do a case study on just that song. And that can create so much dialogue back and forth, bro. Um, before we transition to the next song, though, you said Precious was the one that was singing. That's
Patience.
Precious. I mean, Patience. That was the one that's singing, right? Is that the singer from Boomscat?
Yes. Who is also on press, who is also featured on With Great Care 3. Uh Pretty face, a knife right through my yeah, that's patience.
Which Press is my absolute hands down favorite song. It that thing got me through some times. It got me through some real times, bro, when that thing came out. Um,
Rest
but
in peace, brother.
her voice, young, and I hope that she sees this or is watching, but she needs to drop like sleep music
Ah,
specifically for children, but like I would play that thing in my whole house. Like her voice is just I don't know, bro. It's like I just want to lay on her lap. I'm a married man, so I'm not saying it in that way, but I would like that would be therapy, bro.
lay on her lap and hear her sing.
That would be therapy, bro. And so you said Patience from Boomscat.
Yeah, from Boom Scott.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But yeah, she is amazing, amazing, bro. Every song that you have her on is an absolute hit.
It is. It be
Yeah,
her. It don't be me. It be her.
yeah. Now, so transitioning to 10, which is Trust, right? This is one of your earlier releases that was released as a single. And I've told you before, but my oldest two, whenever I'm taking them to school in the morning, they listen to this every single morning to the point where they're starting to commit the words to memory. And the reason why I'm saying that and why I feel that it's important to say that is because this song is so different from any other song that I've heard in the sense of it legit is like an affirmation to yourself, right? Like if you were to, I'm big on affirmations and speaking affirmation and looking in the mirror to myself and speaking affirmations. And this song is just that, right? Um, and so you also have a video out for this song, and I want to make sure that I'm picking up what you putting down in that video. And correct me if I'm wrong, but within the treatment, it seems as if like an angelic you and maybe even like an older, more mature you is speaking to the present you. So feel free to go with that, run with that.
Yeah, it's four characters. Me, my therapist, a janitor, eavesdropping, and an ancestor.
Mm,
And they all have a role. But essentially all four roles are played by me. Um, because the truth, my truth at the time is that Sean, I've known you for years. You're my brother. You love me, but you will never fully understand the capacity of who I am because you ain't make me. And if you were not a person who was able to understand that about yourself, that nobody will truly fully ever understand who you are, while simultaneously being the elevated person that you are who knows how to show love and grace for whoever God created other people to be, there could be space for you to judge, misjudge, or calculate who I am based off who you are, right? And be like, yo, you something wrong. You need to change this, that, and the third, and be more like this. And the question would be, all right, if I need to be more like this, what are you comparing that to? Are you comparing that to the holy men of the scriptures? Are you comparing that to the call of God, or are you comparing that to what you need to feel more comfortable in my space? While I do think it is important for our friends to give us accountability or checks, right? To, iron sharpens iron. There's a portion of that which says who you are truly becoming and who you are truly sent to be. Nobody can tell you how to get there because nobody else possesses it but you. There's only one true source to get there, and that's how you tap in with your spirit. And at some point, you have to learn to take wise counsel, but learn that great wise counsel is not telling you who to be. Great wise counsel is having people around you who can ask you important questions to help you discover who to be. But at the end, you have to learn to trust yourself. Um, Also, if you are a person of great capacity, great energy, and people who walk with a certain level of character, you cannot allow yourself for long to exist in a place where, because of your lack of trust for your own decisions, you drift, allowing yourself to go with the wind and just end up where you end up. Because people with great capacity, great energy, and high character can easily be pulled into scenarios that can destroy everything that they're building.
Mm, mm,
And
yeah,
typically, when you get in a place where you start not trusting yourself, is because you allowed outside criticism to convince you that you are wrong. And maybe sometimes you are, but never allow yourself to stop trusting your ability to grow past those moments too. You have to make sincere decisions or you'll get pulled.
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I to add to that, I would say that trusting yourself is for some, maybe even for a lot, it is innate, right? There's like a strong foundation within us that drives us home to be able to trust ourselves, right? However, in addition to that, I truly believe that a lot of the times the missing component is what is taught and what is instilled in us from an elder, from a loving, trusted guardian, so on and so forth, right? Um, and so to transition, my question is within your upbringing, did you have anybody that was that representation of affirmation that helped? Because I believe that, and the reason why I said what I said is I believe that you are one of those who had an instinctual root of just knowing who you are, being comfortable in who you are, and not necessarily following the crowd, quote unquote. However, I'm curious to know, did you have somebody that you loved, that you respected, that you looked up to, that also spoke that level of positivity into you?
Yeah, my community didn't have affirmational language. That wasn't what it was. But my former songs talk about it. Dope on the last project on first working when it says born to a breach but raised by a hustler. And then the song Hope says I could have you know, dope, and it talks about the influences that I had that kind of like cultivated my presence. Man, all of my which that credit goes to my brothers and my father. My mother's a pretty dope person too, but my tutelage, the strength, the confidence, the power that I walk with, I give all that to my brothers and my father. My father, to a certain extent, was like a hometown hero. Everybody knew him. He wasn't afraid to speak to anybody. He was a thinker. Uh, he's the first person who used to pick on me all the time, just be like, "You always run around with that calculator. Your calculator is here." Didn't graduate high school. Never made it past the 10th grade. Dropped out to work on the farm. Um, Ended up, working at factories, driving truck. But he was a person of high capacity. He could do everything. So I'm saying he could do everything. There wasn't nothing my father couldn't do. From cook, clean, chop wood, take care of kids, build stuff, work on cars. There wasn't nothing he couldn't do. And my brother was like a hometown hero too. Like my brother was like the big dog. Like I grew up under brothers who were considered in our city, in our small town city where we come from, as like, oh yeah, that's such and such. Either everybody loved him or everybody feared him. But it's like that's such and such. We don't. So I'm like the little brother of, oh yeah, that's such and such. I had to grow up with like that's such and such little brother. And I
Yep.
was never one of those people who didn't want to be such and such as little brother. I'm like, yeah, you're right. That's my big brother. Don't play. But you grow up with a sense of like, this is who my people is, so this is who I am. And then they do it to you too. Your brothers do it to you. They hit you with the like, nah, we don't do that. And my daddy hit me with it like, nah, we don't do that. We do things a certain type of way. If we do anything, we don't do anything haphazardly. We don't do anything on accident. I don't care if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Whatever thing we doing, we do it to the max. And that's who they were. And because of that, they earned and garnished a certain level of respect and responsibility in our community. And that just came down to me. And it's like, yo, whatever you do it to the max. So when I stood up in that school, it was like, yo, y'all need to stop trying to do every little thing and do what you do with great care. All I was telling them was what was told to me. Whatever you do it to the max. And they walk like that. They move like that. My daddy washed dishes. Like I have visions of him. He washed dishes like that shit was important. You know what I mean? And so when people see me now and they see how meticulous I am, it's because I can't escape being taught that my manhood, my my strength was based off how I did things. How you do one thing is how you do all things.
Mm.
So I learned to trust myself because I learned not to stop until I felt like I had did the best I could do.
Respect. Appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that. Um, so I've been enjoying this time, man. Thank you for having me. Um, Unfortunately, we are reaching the end of the album. And so track 11, Smile, the notes that I took for this is it was a bittersweet goodbye. And the reason why I say that is because not just the content, but I was still left seeking more within the album. Granted, I do truly believe that the album is concise. I believe that it's, whole. But it just was so much good music that I just was looking for some more and hoping for some more. But then even with the content, with the lyrics, though it is promoting to smile, which perceivably is a positive thing, the underlying message through that is even though, smile even though, dot dot dot, right? And so it really reminded me of a song called Encourage Yourself by Sherry Jones Moffett. I don't know if you are familiar with that gospel song.
Mhm.
Um, that is one of the songs that helped to get me through a very trying time in my life. And I truly believe that this song is equivalent in that regard, in that when people hear this song, that it will serve that purpose within their season as well. If we have the time, could you?
It's up to you because I know you got to make moves.
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna make time. If you could play it, and then my question, I'll leave my question after you play it.
Gotcha.
Even though it's breaking, if there's clouds in the sky, you'll get by. If you smile through the sorrow, you'll be better tomorrow. Smile cause you know that you ain't homeless. Smile cause you finally got your own shit. Smile though everyone else around you wouldn't loan a pot to piss, instead they just pissed around you. Smile cause you made it through all that fucking hatred. Smile cause you believe that you could always make it. Smile cause you never once had a doubt about it. Though the ones you call brothers expressed their doubts about it. Smile cause you know that's not how it should be, but your testimony is everything that it could be. You stood in faith when the doctor said they had no idea. Said you were ready, then God gave you a new idea. Speak to the promise of how your body's supposed to feel. Tell them you're great until that feeling becomes your real. Smile for your car cause you know your credit was in the dumps. Smile cause you're winning, though the country elected Trump. You live in a time of black excellence, from black decadence to black presidents. Smile cause your father taught you the testaments. You should a Jericho fighter, you're setting precedents. Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile, even though it's breaking. If there's clouds in the sky, you'll get by. If you smile through the sorrow, you'll be better tomorrow. Yusha, every situation you manage to come out on top. Pressure hits you but never damaged you. Building a future turns present life to collateral. You lose friends, but real niggas never get mad at you. Cause they know everything that you've been pressing for requires blessings, so they just love you and bless you more. Smile for the people who left you but only stressed you more. Took something from you but made space, so they left you more. Smile for the future that God promised you. Smile for the woman who really honors you. Smile for the women who send those latex. Smile for the companies that make latex. You winning, my nigga, won't you just smile for that? Grammy, smile for the people that's gonna be round for that. Millions, smile for the people that you gon' build it with. Home, smile for the lovely family you'll fill it with. Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile, even though it's breaking. If there's clouds in the sky, you'll get by. If you smile through the sorrow, you'll be better tomorrow. See, we got a lot of reasons to smile now. And we've been going through problems for a while now. If you gotta call me to go and dial down this number, I'm under distress, but I know this pain won't last. My mama told me it comes in the morning through the glass. I looked out the window, I could see it raining over. That's how I knew it was growing. I was looking for 4-leaf clovers like my Lord. Oh my Lord, please don't take me. I'm trying to reach these dreams, hope the pressure never breaks me. I'm trying to move forward, my Lord, never forsake me. And every movement that I make, I know it's gonna take me to a better place, to a better place. If you with me, throw your hands up in the sky. I don't care where you are, look yourself up in the eye. Say we gon' make it, or we just gon' die. We gon' keep it going, we gon' do it, we don't never try. We gon' keep it going, we gon' do it, we don't never try. We gon' keep it going, we gon' do it, we don't never try. Trying this for suckers, we gon' make it happen, we gon' fly, let's go.
My guy.
Man. Bro. Let me just ask my question, man. Let me just ask my question. I feel like I know the answer is yes. Was there intention behind this? But let me ask, was there intention behind this? And if so, why was it important to you to include a final song with such gravity to it.
I want to speak honestly. Give me a second. I need to see something. Mm, mm, where's music at? There we go. I spelled it wrong. One quick second. So I study hip hop, right? And in studying hip hop, I study the patterns of music. And that's not it.
Oh, that was what you were studying.
No. I was studying that. What is that? That's the wrong one. Hold on. Kamikaze. He got some extended records on it. This ain't the original Kamikaze. The original one. On the original Kamikaze,
Talking about Twister.
yeah,
Okay.
it ends with two songs, Hope and Sunshine. Hope, cause I'm hopeful. Yes, I am hopeful for today. So that goes through like these struggles. I wish that all these things weren't happening, but I'm hopeful for better. He also ends with Sunshine. When I wake up in the morning, sun, and the sunlight close. So it's like it's these dope hip hop records that always end with like this motivation. Like no matter how crazy, how booty popping or drug, whatever the record at the end is like hope. The common message is hope. But even though the choruses be beautiful and hopeful, like even if you listen to let me go look at this to see what the last song is. Nipsey's project, Marathon. Um the last song on that joint for Victory Lap is he gets down to like he puts his right hand to God, which is really like his declaration, but it's like these records of like hope. But in the lyrics, it's like we hopeful, but this is what we still dealing with.
Mm.
Still working and winning isn't about just it ain't braggadocious. It ain't we in the club popping, and it could be because we do be in the club. But have been we do be in the club popping bottles, or we do drive nice cars, or we do got houses up on Marlboro, or we do have buildings on 8th Street. We do got all of this, but young. We are still black men and women. And this project ain't just for black men and women, but for us, I'll say we're still black men and women in America. And for anybody, we still in this world. This world separate outside of God's command and call because we can do that. It ain't been easy for nobody. Maya Angelou said this life is not a crystal stair. My life is not, crystal stair. So it's like we at the end of the project, we still working and winning. But the truth is, what I wish I could have told my boy, one of my boys who committed suicide in 2021, who's mentioned on signs at the end when it says he got his daughter, is like, yo, we are in this thing until the wheels fall off. And we do not take the wheels off. So regardless of what you're going through, smile. Smile about your current condition. Smile about the things that happen to you. And when you learn to do that, when you learn to trust the signs and know that regardless of what your current situation looks like, there's still a promise coming for you. When you can find a way, when you can elevate your perspective on the hill
Mm.
and see what's coming, it allows you to see that the moment the fog that you're sitting in, because even though I could see the fog, I knew that the cloud, I knew we weren't gonna be in fog for long because my perspective showed me that was a cloud. It was blowing over. If I elevate the perspective and I look out over the horizon, I can be in any given moment and still smile because I know that there's still something coming that's bigger than this moment. Smile. Smile for what's to come. So the first verse is like, this is what you're dealing with. The second verse is like, Grammy, smile for the people who are going to be around for that. Millions, smile for the people you're going to build it with. And you know this, you know me enough to know that I care about this home. Smile for the lovely family you fill it with. I'm still striving for that. Smile.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, to that a bittersweet goodbye, bro. Like, I
Nah,
think,
it's a short project. Just run it back.
yeah, yeah. I mean, legit though, legit. I would agree with that, man. I mean,
That was
but
intentionally done too.
for it to end in this way, I think that it was still a masterpiece. I think that it was great in how it ended. I think that that was the icing on the cake, right? Applause to you, bro. Like, you are a true artist, man. You care about what you do. You do everything with great care and intention. Um, you have the talent, and you make music that sticks to the bones, man. Like, your music is going to be around forever. I truly believe that. When you when your shell, your fleshly body is has transition, you will be immortal through your music. And the messages that's probably the strongest thing, is that your message is not only relevant to today, it will forever remain relevant. So I appreciate you for that.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate you for that, man. So, it for everyone's understanding, when has or will this album drop? Where can it be found?
Yeah, this project officially dropped today. But for those who might be watching this, in the future, July 12th, 2023. Um, at this current moment, it can only be found on Bandcamp, and it cannot be streamed. It can only be purchased. As an independent artist, it was important for me, as a growing independent artist, especially coming from the last Workin Winnin project, which was extremely well written. It was important that I created a project where no one could like where no aspect of the project was lacking. There was no lack in production. There was no lack in recording quality. There was no lack in sound engineering and mixing. Everything was on point. That cost a lot of money. And without the financial backing of a bank, I did what I had to do to produce that. I took sacrifices that other people wouldn't have taken to produce that, to get to this point. And now that we're at this point where I can finally release this baby that costs so much money, um, though I am not against the music's process and procedure because it is good, for me, I cannot recoup on streaming services. I cannot have a functional business on streaming services, where as an independent artist, I get paid half a penny every 10 plays. That would require 1 million streams to make $5,000. And it would require um, about $5,000 in ads that I would have to pay for to reach 1 million streams. There's no way I can produce another project after this one, right? From a business standpoint, if there's no recoup.
Respect,
So you can only purchase it.
respect. And so, for those like myself who have no idea what Bandcamp is, but also I'm not strong when it comes to technology, where can I find a potential link that'll direct me to where I need to go?
Yeah, so this is this video right now, even though we're on Restream, is being streamed through Facebook and YouTube. I'm gonna go to those links. I'm gonna make this video live, and then I'm gonna put the links in those video details. But you can also follow me. You see my name at the bottom, Yusha Assad, on IG, and hit the link in my IG, and you'll see a link that says "Purchase the New Album," and that's the way you can get it.
Yes, sir.
You can also become a with great care architect who had access to this interview live. No one else had access to this interview live, and you can do that by dialing the numbers 844. Without dial it, text. I'm sorry, text the words with great care. Just those three words, nothing extra, no exclamation points, nothing. Just those words with great care to 844 454 5246. That will allow you to join my text community of architects. I call them architects because we are always building with great care. And those people get access to private listening sessions. They get information first. They got a download link for the album, a pre-order that was at a cheaper cost. So I look out for that group of folks.
Appreciate you, brother. I appreciate
it. I want to appreciate you. I'm meticulous and strategic. And I was strategic, y'all, about asking Sean to come do this review and this interview because of who he is as a listener, because of who he is as a thinker, and how he takes in music. He's often the person in our male circle group who shares new albums coming out. So he's a music observer, music lover. He absorbs the music, processes it, thinks at a high level, and we appreciate that. So Sean, thank you for doing this with fidelity and honesty and integrity, coming forth as your brother and sharing. But I knew that you would ask questions that nobody else would ask.
I hope I made you proud, bro. And I have times to the questions that I'm going to ask you offline that I asked you online. So
yeah, I mean, you and I without questions could talk 2 hours.
Yeah, that's real. Real talk, man. Hey, but look, still working and winning. The promise, I'm going to already claim it for you, bro. This is another classic, man. Another classic, bro. And I appreciate you for inviting me in this space to go along in this ride, in this journey with you, bro.
For sure, man. Always. Listen, y'all, the promise is coming. The promise is here, but it's also still coming. Album release concert August 4th as well. August 4th, 2023 at Songbird. I will be doing the entire album in concert, accompanied by a band called Oh He Did. So we're going to turn it up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, anything else you want to leave off with?
I love you. Appreciate you.
Likewise, man. Hey, with great care, bro. With great care. Dope. Dope. Everybody, please go get your apparel, man.
Oh, Sean, have you seen the new drop?
No, I have not yet.
The official Workin Winnin logo had dropped today, too. It's all red.
Okay. Okay.
Same details.
I'm looking out for it. I'm an architect myself, but I have also been working today and winning today. So I haven't had a chance to check.
I'm gonna send y'all a link tomorrow. I'm gonna send the architects a link tomorrow, which y'all. So architects also have for those who are watching this, architects also have a permanent 20. I think it's either 20 or 25% discount. Like it never goes away. So if you're in that group, you can always buy merchandise 25% cheaper than everybody else.
Yes, sir. All right, brother. Well, hey, I appreciate you again, man. Love you.
Love you too, bro.
All right, man.
Peace.